Burkina Faso's government just pulled off a Hollywood-style rescue of 2 kidnapped lawyers and turned it into a national victory. Is this a sign of their counterinsurgency prowess, or just a flashy distraction? And why should you even care? Because it's not just about rescuing 2 lawyers. Nope. It's a game with insurgents, power plays, and a sprinkle of international drama. Stick around, because we're about to spill the juiciest secrets from the Sahel that you won't hear on CNN, as they don't like to cover Burkina Faso's victory, because Western media's favorite topic is Africa's misery. So, let's get started. Africa is helping itself, thanks to Traoré. Imagine this: 2 high-profile lawyers vanish from Burkina Faso's volatile regions. The country holds its breath as the clock ticks. Media outlets go into a frenzy, speculation is rife, and then President Ibrahim Traoré's forces swoop in with a dramatic rescue mission. The nation erupts in cheers as Traoré basks in newfound glory. But here's the kicker. Beneath the surface of this feel-good story is propaganda and geopolitical maneuvering. Burkina Faso is making waves, not just in the Sahel, but across the entire African continent. In an era where Western narratives often portray African nations as unstable or dependent, President Ibrahim Traoré is flipping the script. The recent daring rescue of 2 high-profile lawyers held by militants for nearly a month showcases not just a victory over insurgents, but a triumph for African resilience, ingenuity, and leadership. Let's be clear, this wasn't just about saving lives. It was a statement, a message to the world that Burkina Faso, under Traoré's bold leadership, refuses to be a pawn in someone else's geopolitical game. For too long, African nations have been underestimated, with Western powers treating the continent as a perpetual crisis zone in need of foreign intervention. But this incident proves that Africa is more than capable of solving its problems, on its terms. Think about it. These militants, allegedly linked to the global insurgent network, thought they could destabilize Burkina Faso and shake its foundation. But they underestimated the resolve of a nation that has faced colonization, economic exploitation, and now a new wave of external pressures. The successful rescue mission wasn't just a tactical win, it was a declaration that Burkina Faso, and by extension Africa, will not bow to fear. Traoré's government has been investing heavily in strengthening its military capabilities, not as a show of force, but as a necessity to protect its sovereignty. For years, Western narratives have framed African security challenges as issues that require external intervention. But Traoré is showing the world that Africa can and will stand on its own. By executing this rescue mission without begging for outside help, he is setting a new standard for African self-reliance. But let's dig deeper into why this matters beyond just Burkina Faso's borders. This incident is a microcosm of the broader African struggle for autonomy. Western nations often swoop in with so-called aid and support, but more often than not, these come with strings attached. Strings that can strangle a nation's independence. Traoré is rejecting this paradigm. Instead of waiting for foreign powers to dictate terms, he's investing in homegrown solutions, training local forces, and using indigenous knowledge to combat threats on African soil. There's a reason why Burkina Faso's approach is resonating across the continent. Traoré's actions are a throwback to the days when African leaders like Thomas Sankara championed self-reliance and Pan-African solidarity. Sankara, the revolutionary Burkinabe leader, famously pushed for Africa to reclaim its destiny. Traoré, in many ways, is carrying the torch forward. By prioritizing national security, he's not just protecting Burkina Faso's borders, but is also sending a message to the entire continent. Africa doesn't need to rely on external powers to solve its problems. However, let's not be naive. There are challenges. The militants operating in the Sahel are well-armed, well-funded, and deeply entrenched in the region's geography. But what makes Africa unique is its ability to adapt, to find solutions in the most challenging of circumstances. Traoré's administration is tapping into the resilience of the Burkinabe people, using strategies that are rooted in local traditions and community engagement. This isn't just a top-down military campaign. It's a grassroots effort to reclaim territories and restore peace. The Western media often fails to acknowledge the complexities of the African context. They see a high-profile kidnapping and immediately frame it as a sign of instability. But what they miss is the strength behind the response and how local communities, the government, and even regional allies are coming together to support these efforts. The rescue wasn't just a victory for Burkina Faso, it was a victory for African solidarity. Let's also address the elephant in the room: the financial cost. Critics will argue that Burkina Faso's focus on military spending diverts resources from development. But what they fail to recognize is that without security, there can be no sustainable development. Traoré's government understands this reality. By investing in its military, Burkina Faso is not just protecting its borders, but also ensuring that its people can live, work, and thrive in peace. But securing the nation's borders is just one piece of the puzzle. Traoré knows that the real battle lies in uniting his people. So, can he? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. But let's be honest, unity doesn't come easy, especially in a country like Burkina Faso, where regional divisions, ethnic tensions, and economic disparities run deep. Traoré's challenge has always been more than just combating insurgents. It's about bringing together a nation that has seen decades of instability and distrust. So, how did this rescue mission become a powerful symbol of solidarity? The key lies in how Traoré has reframed the narrative. This was not just about saving two individuals, but about sending a message to every Burkinabe citizen: we are stronger together. In a continent often divided by artificial borders drawn during colonial times, fostering unity is not just a political necessity, it's a revolutionary act. Traoré understands that the real strength of Burkina Faso, and by extension Africa, lies not in its military might, but in the solidarity of its people. When state-controlled media celebrated the rescue, it wasn't just about patting the government on the back. It was about inspiring the people, reminding them of their shared resilience. Traoré's administration has skillfully used this incident to spark a wave of national pride, focusing on the idea that Burkina Faso is charting its course, free from external manipulation. For a continent that has long been the playground of foreign interests, this is a powerful statement. But let's take a step back and look at why this matters beyond Burkina Faso's borders. Across Africa, there's a growing movement towards self-determination. From Ghana's push for economic independence to Ethiopia's determination to resolve its internal conflicts without Western interference, the continent is waking up to its power. Traoré's focus on unity isn't just about Burkina Faso, it's about joining the chorus of African leaders who are saying, "We've got this." This shift is part of a broader Pan-African vision that has been gaining momentum. Traoré is not just leading Burkina Faso, he's joining a league of African leaders who are tired of being dictated to by foreign powers. By focusing on unity, he's tapping into the same spirit that leaders like Kwame Nkrumah and Julius Nyerere championed decades ago, a belief that Africa's strength lies in its unity and self-reliance. But let's not pretend this is easy. Traoré's focus on unity faces significant challenges. Regional divisions within Burkina Faso have been stoked by years of neglect, poverty, and marginalization. In areas like the northern Sahel, where militant groups have gained a foothold, there's a deep-seated mistrust of the central government. Traoré's challenge is not just to defeat insurgents, but to win over hearts and minds, and he's doing it by showing that the state can protect its people, no matter how remote or marginalized they are. The rescue operation was a demonstration of what is possible when a nation is united. It showed that the government is willing to go to great lengths to protect its citizens, even in the most challenging circumstances. This kind of commitment is crucial for building trust in regions where people have long felt abandoned. By prioritizing the safety of his people, Traoré is challenging the old stereotype that African leaders only care about enriching themselves. He's showing that a new kind of leadership is possible, one that is rooted in service, accountability, and a deep connection to the people.
We have the same blood that flows in our veins. In our veins flows the blood of these valiant warriors who fought and reserved this land that we call Mali, Burkina, and Niger. In our veins flows the blood of these valiant warriors who helped the whole world get rid of Nazism and many other plagues. In our veins flows the blood of these valiant warriors who were deported from Africa to Europe, America, Asia, or elsewhere, and who helped build these states during slavery.
There's also an important lesson here for the rest of Africa. Unity is not just a lofty ideal, it's a strategic necessity. In a world where external powers are constantly vying for influence over African resources, being divided is a luxury that Africa can no longer afford. Traoré's message is clear. If we come together, we can protect our lands, our people, and our future. This is a lesson that resonates beyond Burkina Faso, touching the hearts of Africans who are tired of seeing their countries treated as pawns in global power games. Yet it's not just about military victories or rescue missions. True unity goes deeper. Traoré knows that real solidarity comes from addressing the root causes of division: poverty, lack of access to education, and economic disparity. His administration is working on not just securing the nation, but also investing in development projects that bring tangible benefits to the people. By doing so, he's showing that security isn't just about guns and soldiers. It's about ensuring that every citizen feels they have a stake in the nation's future. One of Traoré's boldest moves has been to involve local communities in the fight against insurgency. By empowering community leaders, he's turning them into stakeholders in the nation's security. This grassroots approach is something that Western powers often overlook in their one-size-fits-all solutions. But Africa understands that true security starts from within, with the people. By focusing on community engagement, Traoré is proving that the solutions to Africa's challenges must come from within Africa itself. This is what makes the Burkina Faso approach so powerful. It's not just about what Traoré is doing, it's about how he's doing it. He's rejecting the old playbook that says African countries must rely on foreign solutions. Instead, he's tapping into the wisdom, resilience, and strength that have always been part of Africa's DNA. As we look to the future, the question isn't whether Burkina Faso can overcome its challenges. The question is, how many more African nations will follow Traoré's lead in rejecting dependency and embracing a path of self-reliance? The winds of change are blowing across the continent, and Burkina Faso is right at the center of this African renaissance. But while Traoré focuses on building unity, the insurgents are playing a different game altogether. They're targeting the very foundation of Burkina Faso's stability by going after legal professionals and intellectuals. So, what does kidnapping the lawyers mean? The answer is chillingly strategic. Militants know that by targeting legal professionals, they are not just striking fear into the hearts of individuals. They are attempting to erode the very fabric of the nation. Burkina Faso's legal system is more than just a collection of courts and judges. It is a symbol of order, stability, and the state's ability to protect its people. By attacking lawyers, the insurgents are sending a clear message. Your laws cannot protect you. For the insurgents, it's not just about taking hostages or demanding ransoms. It's about destabilizing the state from within. The abduction of two high-profile lawyers was not a random act of violence. It was a calculated move designed to instill fear in the minds of those who uphold the law. If lawyers, the very defenders of justice, are not safe, then who is? This kind of psychological warfare is aimed at breaking the spirit of the people, making them question whether the state can truly protect them. This strategy is part of a broader shift we're seeing across the African continent, where insurgent groups are no longer just attacking military targets, but are focusing on intellectuals, educators, and community leaders. It's a tactic borrowed from historical conflicts, where undermining a nation's intellectual class was a way to weaken its resolve. By targeting the brains of society, these groups hope to cripple the state's ability to govern effectively. But Burkina Faso is not taking this lying down. Traoré's government understands that this is more than just a physical fight. It's a battle for the soul of the nation. The legal community, though shaken, is standing firm, showing the same resilience that has defined Africa's spirit for centuries. Traoré is doubling down on his commitment to protect not just the borders of Burkina Faso, but the minds and hearts of its people. His message is clear: Burkina Faso will not be bullied into submission. Yet, the challenges are immense. Lawyers, judges, and other legal professionals are now operating under constant threat. The fear is real. If these professionals start withdrawing from conflict zones, it could lead to a collapse of the legal order in regions already destabilized by violence. This is exactly what the militants want. They know that without the rule of law, chaos reigns, and they can exploit that chaos to their advantage. But here's where the story takes an inspiring turn. Despite the risks, many Burkinabe lawyers are refusing to back down. They see their work as part of a larger struggle, not just for justice in their country, but for the future of Africa. Traoré's government is providing additional security and support, but more importantly, it's fostering a culture of resilience. The message to the militants is clear: you may threaten our lives, but you will not break our spirit. This fight is not just about protecting legal professionals. It's about protecting the future of Burkina Faso. If the state loses its lawyers, it loses its ability to prosecute criminals, enforce laws. There can be no lasting peace, no development, and no future for Burkina Faso. Across the continent, other African nations are watching closely. The attack on Burkina Faso's legal system is seen as a warning to all of Africa. Insurgents are shifting tactics, and it's time to adapt. But, rather than cowering in fear, Burkina Faso is setting an example of how to stand strong in the face of adversity. This is the kind of leadership Africa needs. Leadership that doesn't just react to threats, but anticipates them, adapts, and finds ways to turn challenges into opportunities for growth. There's also a deeper, more symbolic battle happening here. For centuries, Africa was told by colonizers that it needed foreign laws, foreign systems, and foreign solutions. But today, African nations like Burkina Faso are proving that they can build their systems of justice rooted in their own cultures and values. By defending their legal professionals, Burkinabe leaders are making a statement. We are the architects of our destiny. However, this fight is far from over. The militants are playing a long game, hoping that persistent pressure will eventually cause the state to crumble. They're banking on fear, hoping that it will paralyze the legal system. But what they fail to understand is that Burkina Faso, like the rest of Africa, is not so easily broken. The spirit of resistance runs deep in the veins of the Burkinabe people. Traoré's response to these threats is not just about protecting his citizens. It's about reclaiming Africa's narrative. It's about showing the world that African nations are no longer willing to be pawns in someone else's game. By standing firm, protecting its legal professionals, and refusing to bow to terror, Burkina Faso is sending a message to all would-be oppressors. Africa is rising, and it will not be held back. But as we celebrate the resilience of Burkina Faso, it's crucial to recognize the wider implications. The continent as a whole must be prepared for this new wave of psychological warfare. African nations must come together to share strategies, resources, and intelligence. Traoré's leadership is a beacon, but he cannot do it alone. The fight for sovereignty, justice, and peace is a collective effort that requires Pan-African solidarity. So here we are. 2 lawyers were rescued, a nation celebrating, and a president basking in the glory. But let's not get too comfortable with this feel-good ending. Because the reality is, this is just one battle in a much larger, messier war. Traoré might have won this round, but the game is far from over. We can celebrate only when the whole of Africa has united against these militants. Then nothing will be able to hurt Africa in any way. Do you think Africa will unite for the sake of its safety? Will the insurgency end that day? Let us know in the comment section. Do you think leaders like Traoré can be trusted? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.